Hello, today I will be talking about Spanish flu, also known as the Great Influenza Epidemic. But there's something you need to know. Spanish flu did not start in Spain. It started, no, it does not equal from Spain. Spanish flu was first found on March 4th on 1918 in Kansas, America. Yes, you heard. The Spanish flu is not from Spain. It's literally from Kansas, America. So why do we call it the Spanish flu? It's because American soldiers came to Europe, and the, the first infections in Europe were in Great Britain and Spain, and mostly in Spain. Most, and I mean most, of the cases were in Spain, Germany, and UK. And we call it Spanish because it firstly started in Spanish in Europe, but in the world it first started in Kansas, America. So, what do we know about it? It was deadly. It was deadly, and the reason for that was this damn illness. It's the same as normal influenza: headache, fever, coughing, sneezing, yeah, stuff like that. But in these times it was only like that. And I need to remind you, 1918, not 1980, 1918. So now we need to know that it's dangerous because the blood and the mucus forming in your own body were going into your lungs, and you drowned to your own liquids from your body. Yes, you drowned your own blood, your own mucus, your own just filth that were in your body. So, what do we need to know about the Spanish flu? Well, that looks like a poop. So, the Spanish flu, it was very hard to diagnose. Why? It was so small, and it just looked like a normal influenza, or just normal coughing, or just normal fever. When it was too late, it was known to be the Spanish flu, the great influenza epidemic illness. So now let's talk about how deadly it was. Well, around this time there were about 1.7 billion people on this earth. So how many did it kill? Let's think about it. Some sources say 17 to 50 million, but some sources say around 17 to 100 million. And this was the first part that I'm explaining in this video. The next one you have to know about is how severe it actually was, and how worldwide it actually was. Now later on. So now we see how worldwide it was. So from America to Europe, and with Europe I mean UK, Germany, Spain, France, and other countries, of course. And we also have Australia. Also have Australia. It also went to Australia, China, India, and many, many more. And what I'm gonna say, these all were in just 1 year, under 1 year. It started on 1918, and when it was in China, it was still 1918. And no, now, what do you think the Spanish flu did? And I mean, like, I don't mean a killing or anything, like financially. Well, every healthcare, the oh shit, the healthcare, the money, the money for healthcare was so much. The economy was just going down. Now this economy, it's going down. Because at the same time there were wars, and just a World War One. So what do you think with all this economy going down, just down because of one epidemic? Well, of course, we lost almost every single country on earth, lost resources, money, and that's just so much money and lives lost to one epidemic. Over 100 million, some sources died. And still, if we go to the low end and say it's 17 million, that's still a lot. And it affected 500 million people. And that's how many people were got this illness and were affected by it. So now, with all the money going down and down, there were all the work, all resources were used for, now take a guess what? War and health. That means there were no jobs unless you know how to do healthcare or you're a soldier. There's no other way you could have a job. If you had a job, it's for like food and other resources that we need. If you were doing, I don't know, like a teacher, you didn't get the paycheck you needed to live because it all went for Spanish flu, or just the great influenza epidemic. And that was Spanish flu explained just for you.